Hi everyone, this is Cindy Create the Heart, and I'm back with more projects using the paper pad of the month from the Not Too Shabby shop. So the two papers are Watercolor Cuties and Ice Cream Dreams. I'm going to be using Ice Cream Dreams today. We're going to be making 3 different styles of a shaker card. So we're going to be making 3 different sizes and 3 different sort of styles of building a card. So the first card we're going to be making is going to be a mini slim. The mini slim in this case measures 3.5 by 6 inches. And I'm using a die from Tailored Expressions that cuts out that front piece right there with the 3 different little squares. But you could use anything, it doesn't have to be that die. But that's what I'm using. So I'm putting down sort of a base paper, and this is going to go down on top of my mini slim. So through the window, you'll see this this paper, and I've got my little pieces I'm going to be using. And so I already have marked my foam. I'm using Studio Katcha foam. It's a great profile, but man, those like red liners are a pita to get off. And so what I did was I like kind of started it so they're coming off very easily, because otherwise you'll just see me struggling for like 10 minutes to take those darn red liners off. I mean, they are stuck. I mean, the good news about that is your project is going to be stuck, which is great if you're making a shaker. You don't want your shakers bits all over the place. So once I've got that down, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use this, I believe it's from Magical Mixery on Etsy. This was actually, I think it might have been a gift. I'm not sure if I ordered it like this or not. But it is like taped down. It's got this cool like container it's in, but it's taped down. So you see me struggling to open it. I end up pausing the video to get all the rest of the tape off because it's taped all down. Which now I'm probably going to have to, I don't know. I mean, they're going to have to move these little pieces that are left into something sealable, or I'm going to have to use tape again to tape it down, because otherwise the lid's just going to plop right off. And I really like these sequins because they match really well with this project. So I'm just using a little tool that I kind of found next to me to kind of throw a few sequins into these boxes. So I'm building from the top down. So I'm going to go ahead and place my card base over this and like cross my fingers and my toes that I hit the right place, which I did hit very closely to where I needed to be. And then I press down to make sure that foam tape is attached well, because I don't want these little sequins all over the darn place. Now I have pieces of ephemera. So this is the add-on ephemera. You can either add it on to your subscription with the paper pads, because one of them will, the ephemera will match one of the paper pads, or you can buy it a la carte. If you do buy it a la carte, you can click the link in my profile and use the coupon code in there. But anyway, I am using some ephemera here. These are all the kind of ephemera I had sort of left over to make some cards. And so just another idea of how to use up this ephemera. I showed a lot of examples this month on how to use this ephemera. We made all kinds of different styles of cards, from shakers to pop-outs to slimlines. So now we're on to our second style. So this is a traditional slimline card that fits into a business size envelope number 10. I am using some scrap. So from my previous video, I did a pop-up card. You see it right here. And I cut out these squares out of all of the cards. And so I decided that I was going to use a slimline and use those square pieces I cut out and make a card with it. So my slimline measures 8.5 by, I think it's 3 3/4. And so I am actually doing a style where you cut a piece of acetate, and the acetate is 1 inch larger on both sides. So it's a 1/2 inch all the way around larger. So if it's 8.5, you want to cut a piece of acetate that's 9.5 by 4.25, and then you're going to score at 1/2 inch all 4 sides, and then you're going to fold that over, and you're going to miter your corners and put tape on the inside flaps. And in this case, I put down 3 of the flaps. I left 1 flap open, and that is an opening to put my sequins. And so I've just got that top opening there. And what this will do is you don't have to use foam. And the other thing is you get full shake. You get a shake all the way up the card. And it's really easy to make a card this way without having to use foam. And so it's a great, style to have in your arsenal. So now I'm taking the tape liner off of that 4th flap and folding that over, and now my shaker is done. Now it's just a matter of decorating that shaker and then putting it on a card base. So I have a couple of elements here that I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use with a shaker of this size. You do have a lot of real estate to put ephemera. So I'm going to be doing the ice cream truck. This is the smaller one. The Sugar Rush ice cream for ice cream. That could be counted as a sentiment, I guess, but I'm going to add a sentiment to this one because I did have one handy somewhere, so why not? And then I've got my ice cream, like popsicles, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. So I'm going to go ahead. I've got them all on foam tape just because it's hard to glue on top of acetate. So using like double-sided tape is good, and then foam is good to stick things to your acetate. It works out really, really well. And it shakes very well. It creates a very nice pocket for your shaker using acetate. So I've got my smile down, and now that card is done. And now we're moving on to, we're going to be putting this on a card base. So we're going to go ahead and put that on a card base so that my card is ready to go. And I'm using score tape or any kind of strong double-sided tape is what I recommend to put this style down. Actually, anytime you're kind of doing the the shakers, any of the style shakers, I think it's good to put them down using some strong adhesive, just because if people are shaking the heck out of it, you don't want it popping open. And so I find that the double-sided tape is what works for me, especially when you're using acetate. So I'm going to go ahead and put that down on my card base so that this card's ready to go. I actually sent a couple cards out the month of June, so I felt good about that. I don't always send cards out. So, I make cards and then I forget to send them, and I don't even know what's up with that. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put that down, and then we're going to move on to our third and last card, which is an A2 size card and a little bit more traditional way of building a shaker, even though I'm going to build it from the top down. I'm going to gamble and take it from the top down, just because of how I'm going to be doing it. So this is an A2 size card, so 5.5 by 4.25 is what we're working with, and I cut a frame. So you can use dies for this, but I ended up not doing that. I ended up using my cutting board and just cutting a square on the inside and a square on the inside from that pattern paper. And so that just works for me. So I've got my foam tape here, and I already started it, so it's not going to be hard to get off. And I'm going to take all of that off so it's ready to go. And then I'm going to throw in my sequins. And these sequins were really perfect for this card. Normally I'm struggling to find the right sequins, but I got lucky having this mix in my collection. So I'm spreading it out because actually what I'm going to do, and I kind of forgot I was going to do this, is I'm going to take the cherry ephemera pieces and put that in with my sequin mix. So that's another way that you can use these ephemera pieces, especially the small ones, is go ahead and, put that down into your shaker bits. And so I'm doing it face down on top of the acetate. There is acetate there. And then I'm going to use this panel that's cut slightly bigger than my shaker panel that I just created. It's slightly bigger, and that way I can just cut the excess off if I need to. And so there it is, and I really like how this came out. This might be my favorite of the three because you can see those cherries in there. So I'm going to go ahead and glue down that top pattern paper on top of my frame, and I'm going to trim the excess paper that's kind of sticking out all over the place. And I'm going to go ahead and do that because, yeah, it doesn't look good. So I'm going to cut it off. But you can see those cherries in there, and it looks really, really cute. So I think that's really a fun way of using this ephemera. So yeah, you can see it shaking around in there. So I'm trimming off the excess. And then I've got to figure out how to decorate that panel. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could just put a sentiment and call it a day, but I do have some bits and pieces of ephemera that I do want to use. But I'm going to go ahead and put some score tape down and get that on my card base. And it doesn't have to be score tape. I mean, you could use glue. You're not putting glue right on acetate right here, and I mean, I think it would stick with this one. It's pretty light. But I like just making sure. So I've got that on using my double-sided tape. In this case, it's score tape. And I'm going to center that on my A2 card base. And now I'm going to go ahead and look at my ephemera. So the sentiment that I have there, that is from the Stamp and Die of the Month, which is an ice cream stamp, which I've only used the sentiment so far. I wanted to kind of use it my ephemera, and I actually have some other projects I have to work on, but I will get to that ice cream Stamp and Die of the Month, and I'll use it in some projects, but I don't know when. I've got so many things going on. But I'm going to go ahead and put that down. That's on foam. So because it's going right on acetate, I like to put it on foam or double-sided tape. So that's my favorite flavor. And then I've got my little ice cream bits that I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put some foam down on top of those. I thought about double-sided tape, but I had the foam just like right there next to me. So that was just easier for me. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm going to go ahead and put that down. And this is my favorite foam. It's a low profile. It's not real tall. You'd have to double it up if you want to use it for a shaker. And there we go. We have 3 super cute and fun shakers. Really fun way of using ephemera. Thank you so much for watching. This is Sandy Crane with a heart.